Hey guys, it's Bill from Linden, Tennessee. So what have I gotten up to this week? I have actually been fairly busy. This weekend was a little bit of a, well, it started out as kind of a downer. I'm going to sidetrack a little bit. So this 1980 Volkswagen I've had in here for a while. I had the cylinder head off, sent it to a place in western Missouri in the beginning of December. I just got it back Friday, and yesterday I was going to get to work on it. I have a master engine rebuild gasket kit, but it doesn't include an exhaust flange gasket. So that's what I was going to do yesterday, but I got very annoyed because it didn't have my gasket. Anyway, so we moved on to this. And what have we done? Done quite a lot, actually. Where to start? Let's see. Let's just start back here. 3-point hitch. Starting to work on this. Well, let's go over here. So there's lots of kits, actually. Go on eBay. You can find these things. You get the two arms like I just showed you there. You get these two lift arms. You get the top link, and you get these two sway bar. I don't know, links. And all of that's like $140. So I was like, okay, you can't buy all that stuff and piece it together for that much, plus your time and the pain in the butt of doing it. So I mean, that's a deal right there. And so what I've done here is on the sides. You can't see any of this stuff, but not without light. But I know a guy who has a light. So we got going on here where that bottom link connects to is a 3/8 inch plate, and that plate bolts to the bottom bolt of the axle tube, and this bolt here of the axle tube. It's the same on both sides. It's got a little curve in it, so it bends around the axle tubes. And then coming up here, this is a 1/4 inch by 2 inch wide piece of flat bar, and that bolts through itself and that bottom flange and into the transmission. These top two bolts, they bolt to the frame. So that piece of 1/4 inch plate, I actually wanted 3/16 plate, but I don't know how to use a tape measure, so I ended up with 1/4 inch plate. That's okay. It'll be fine. So that is pretty well connected to the tractor. I don't think we're going to have a problem there. It looks a bit stupid right now because it's just this big old flat piece, but at some point there's going to be a little dude that sort of sticks up here, and that's where the top link is going to connect. Unfortunately, it's going to connect up about right here, so there is going to have to be a notch taken out of this. The distance between these two bottom links is 20 inches, so I think that qualifies for Category 1. Not that I'm going to be doing a whole lot of Category 1 implements, and any implements that I do make, I'm probably going to make myself, but, you know, if you're going to do it, you might as well do it. Category 0 is considerably narrower. They're pretty much straight out. And that's what my little plow or my tiller is. And also I've got like a little hook that goes into the ground, like you see on big tractors where a ripper, called a ripper. I think they call it a ripper. Anyway, that's the idea. With my other tractor just didn't have enough traction to use that ripper properly. And it also didn't have any downforce on it. This tractor should solve both of those problems. A little case of better to be lucky than good. These pins here, they're put into holes that are the same size as the pin, about halfway through that 3/8 inch plate, and then welded solid from the inside and then ground flat. So that'll hold them tight. And I had kind of wished that I'd have made them a little bit longer, because these, I mean, you can see there's just not very much travel on there, which is fine. But as it turns out, if I'd have made it any longer, like at all, then I wouldn't be able to get these arms on and off with the tires on. Like, it just barely sort of wedges in there sideways. So there you go. Both sides do the same thing. So that's pretty awesome. I'm going to have to countersink, or maybe even counter bore these bolts here and then the one on the bottom, because they do interfere with these arms. And that's okay. I can do that. When all this is all said and done, this is obviously going to get welded, and then this 1/4 inch flat bar is going to get welded to this 3/8 inch down here. So this will all just be one piece that if I ever needed to take it off so I could service the gearbox, which unfortunately is how that is. The oil fill hole is about right here. I'll probably go ahead and just drill a hole right there so I can get to that oil fill hole, so I don't have to take all this whole mess. And then you drain the oil by taking a fitting off of the front. So I could just do that, just drill a hole right there. Anyway, category 1 is what this is. Category 0 is a little bit straighter, and the top link is a little bit lower. So I'll have my category 1 hitch comes up here, but I'll also have my little category 0 top link there, so I can maybe use the arms from a category 0 that's on my other tractor and the top link from the category 0 to use my little tiller. That's the plan for that. And I've got a linear actuator coming. It's a 660 pound linear actuator. And a couple of ways I'm thinking about doing this. Actually 3. One of them is the linear actuator will bolt down here on the bottom. There'll be a bar that goes across the top, and it'll have little arms that stick out up here. So the linear actuator will push on that bar and twist the bar, and then these arms will go up and down and they'll pull on these. And then there'll be a way that you can disconnect the top of the linear actuator from this arm, and so it's not pulling down and pushing up. You can just put it on the bottom, put the linear actuator on the bottom of that arm, so it only pushes up, and these arms will be free to float if I want to do that. That's how I'm going to do that. And then I'll have a receiver hitch, a 2-inch receiver hitch back here for trailers and whatnot. And then, yeah, so that's one way of doing it. Another way, again, with a linear actuator, would be to run it under the seat so it runs forward and backwards. That would be a much, much cleaner way of doing it. And I definitely want to investigate doing it that way, because it would definitely look a lot nicer and would free this up for, hell, I don't know what it would free it up for. It would free it up for something. Yeah, that's that. Also, today, I got this kind of mocked up. And this is a factory plow from Cub Cadet. It's a pretty kind of cool thing. See, it's got these springs on there so you can use it for a snow plow. It's got this little lock right there. So if you undo this lock and twist it over to the side, this pin is now free to move. Well, this pin doesn't move anywhere, but this blade can now move on these springs. So if it encounters a rock or whatever when you're plowing snow or something, it can just flex and it won't damage anything, I guess. So that's kind of cool. And then if you want to push some brush or some rocks or something like that, you rotate that around there, and then that is now locked. Then it's got, you can move it too. You can lift this up, and it's got 2 positions. It can go up to, I don't know, about 30 degrees or so. It's a pretty steep angle that this thing can twist, both left and right. So that's pretty cool. From the factory, it had this little arm right here that was bolted here, and this would have an arm, or have a rod that would go back to a lever that the operator would just pull, and that would lift this thing up and down. But not only do I not have the lever, I don't want to do that, but I do have a winch. So I will turn on the power. Power is on. And then I got my winch control right here. But one thing I've noticed is that this winch with this nylon rope, if you try and unspool that winch, it just goes into a big knot, turns into a disaster. So that's no good. And I can't reach back there and guide the rope on up here. So I wired myself in another wire, or another switch right here. So this is my secondary winch switch. So then I can come up here and do it by hand. It would have been kind of nicer to have it on the other side, I think, but the other side is where all of this stuff goes out, and it'd just kind of be in the way. But I reused these 2 holes. These 2 holes are how I get access to the bolts that hold this piece that goes across the front. But I just kind of reused them instead of drilling more holes. So anyway, so yeah, so I've got this winch control on here now, and let's see how this works. Yeah, that's how that works. How about that, huh? Bam! Big old crank. Yeah, so that's how that works, and that's fantastic. Something I've still got to do, and I would have done more of it today, but I got the wrong size material. I've just got a block holding that from, so this part doesn't flap up, but these bars need to extend much, much further. Yeah, they got to extend all the way back to here. This is the original other half of those bars. So I'm going to put a little 3/4 inch bar, chrome bar right there. I'll drill and tap the end of the chrome bar, and then I'll drill and tap this, and then just screw it in there, and maybe, you know, get a couple tacks of weld on there just to hold it on there. And this is going to end up about right here, and it's going to go all the way in the front and attach to those pieces right there. And then that is how that attaches. Now, what's kind of weird is the way that Cub Cadets holds their implements on. It's just got this little arm, and if you look in there, bonk, see, little piece comes down, bonk, little piece is down, and it just kind of half holds that little pin in there, which is fine, but like, I don't know what keeps that up. If there's supposed to be a spring or something, I don't know. Maybe it won't fall down. It's kind of, you know, it's kind of tight, so it's not like it's going to bounce down, I guess, but this seems kind of weird, but that's how that is. And yeah, and then the way I'm lifting this up, I just drilled and tapped a 1/2-13 hole right there, which was a total nightmare, and put a shoulder bolt in there. This is kind of a pain in the butt because this hook usually goes on the front of this winch, but I couldn't figure out a cool way to put this hook on there. I was gonna use this right here. I was just gonna weld this kind of right here, or right here, or right here, or somewhere. But any place that I put this, if I put this right here, this rope would be at a really crazy angle. If I put it in here, then I couldn't turn the blade all the way to the right, which probably wouldn't be that big a deal, but I don't know. It just never seemed a really clean way of doing it. So I just put a 1/4 inch or 3/4 inch piece of flat bar behind here, welded it to the frame. That's why all that paint's gone. Welded it to the frame, and then drilled and tapped all the way through that. So there's almost an inch of you know, 5/8 inch of metal that this standoff shoulder bolt is bolted to. And to, you know, to undo this thing, you let it down, and then you just take an Allen wrench and you undo this, and then you can put this back on if you want to. And then you just put that back on there and take it off next time you need it. So it's kind of awkward, but like, honestly, how often am I going to use this? I don't know. Probably not very often, but it does look cool. Let's see, what else? I think that's it. I think that's all I got. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, my buddy Ralph Doe on the 4x4 custom tractor Facebook thing, he makes decals. He makes decals for vintage tractors. So I've got some reproduction decals. I got a new Cub Cadet sticker, and there's a one that goes up in here in front. There's a little IH symbol that goes in the back. Well, it should go in the back, but it's not going to have anywhere to go because I'm going to cut that out for that top link. But this is the hydrostatic 123. That's what model this hood at least was off of, and one of these axles was from the hydrostatic 123. And that would normally go here on the normal hood, but it's obviously going to go back here on this one. But I don't want it to say hydrostatic 123 because that's not what this is. So I'm going to have Ralph customize it for me. That's all I'm going to say about that. But yeah, man. So this is good. It all kind of came together and ended up being a productive day. And yeah, real happy about that. So yeah, I guess until next time, we'll talk to you later.